Hi, today we are looking at the last main X title to be released in the From the Ashes era, not counting any of the solo titles like Storm or miniseries like Dazzler and Mystique. So this is Exceptional X-Men issue 1, written by Eve L Ewing and drawn by Carmen Carnero. Full spoilers ahead, so you're forewarned. It is a relatively good issue until we get to the last two pages. But let's get through the majority of this issue before we get there. A couple of things stood out to me. I like Trista, the new character introduced in this issue. I like the explanation as to why Kate is doing what she's doing. And I like the voice given to Kate, whom now prefers to go by Kitty. It is an odd change, something that I have not experienced with a more mature person switching back to their less adult name. Hi, future Tyler here. The first bit about Krakoa being sort of a home is an indicator of where Kate's head is at. She never really lived on the island and spent a lot of that era on the Marauders and then with the Resistance. So if I have to nitpick a little, the Marauder is not really a pirate ship. Anyway, um, did she really not want to go by Kate, or did she intentionally make herself sound younger? Because Trista is obviously younger. Lulu and Pretty called her Kate, so that's true. We had spoken about through lines with characters in other reviews. Do you think there is a through line here for Kate from the end of the Age of Krakoa to here? Yes, I do. First of all, I agree that Kate's voice here is pretty spot on. Though on the reread, it is not perfect. It gives new readers just enough background information to understand where her mindset is at this moment, and it makes sense that she wants to distance herself from what she had to do during Fall of X and what she called the shattered remains of the life she knew. I'm a little less enthused about the bit regarding new gods, because that line was Magneto telling the ambassadors at Jerusalem Habitat at the end of House of X 1. The speech that Professor X might broadcast to the world did not include those two words. Yeah, and it was brought up again when the two racist dudes were discussing about mutants. Old Kate would have yelled at and perhaps punched them, but not this Kate. I have a thought though, but I'm going to reserve this for the random thoughts section. So, the scene with Kate having a bit of an anxiety attack, I'm I'm not sure I buy that bit. In addition, we just had Scott having a panic attack at the end of X-Men 3. Someone made a comment recently that all the X books in this era are blending into one another, plot wise, and I cannot help but agree. Senior X-Men rescuing New Mutants is kind of the elevator pitch for all three main X books. And here we have another similar thread thrown into the mix. Kate and Scott suffering from some anxiety panic attack. Yeah, I definitely do not like that. If you're going to have three main titles, make them somewhat distinct apart from having different characters in them. I do like that there is a call out to the events at the end of X-Men 2. There are some connectivity between the books, which is something that I enjoyed during the start of the Age of Krakoa. It is looser here, and it places books roughly in a timeline, but each book can be read independently. They are definitely connecting some themes here regarding mutants being seen as contagious and truth seekers. Familiar grounds wrap up in like new clothings. Anyway, that scene brings us to a bit of a tonal shift, the first of a few. I'm not sure if it is because Kate's inner monologue suddenly became a speech bubble, which makes it kind of like breaking the fourth wall as if she's speaking directly to us. But also, it didn't occur to me until a bit later in this issue, and that was when Kate got stood up, but also not really, and she was like speaking out loud, but it is a weird tonal shift. It sometimes feels a little like an Ellie McBeal episode where Ellie's inner monologue suddenly switches to a light moment amidst her self-pity wallowing. Um, and like you pointed out, maybe fourth wall breaking scene, which is a little out of place here. So, yeah, doesn't really sit very well. And this is like not the only one strange tonal shift in this issue. I have a question. Is Kate coming out as bi? I'm wondering the same too. You do not have to say, I mean, you do not say you're on a date with a platonic friend, do you? No. As far as I know, you do not. Kate then because of that, she misremember her date. She ran into an altercation between an event security and a young teenager named Trista. I'm not sure how event security could refuse Trista entry, except perhaps to put Trista in a stressful situation and create the whole scene that comes after. It is a bit of a pet peeve of ours that something improbable happens so that it will lead to other parts of the story. Like Trista clearly has a ticket, so it is really not up to that guy to refuse her entry. And he shoved a teenage girl and then pulled out the gun to shoot her. Well, I mean, the situation escalated when Trista became bronze and shoved the security guy back before he pulled out his gun. I am not saying that is right. I still think it is wrong to pull out a gun to shoot a teenage girl you provoked, and there were a lot of bystanders. And he shot at her head. So that is like he's aiming to kill. So that is not right at all. Also, like Kate mentioned earlier in this issue, like Trista, like Kate, passes as a normal human being. So there's no way the security guy was initially acting that way because he was reacting to a mutant threat or something like that. And also, there's no way Kate would know Trista is the mutant. So that inner monologue of Kate counting down doesn't make sense at all. Also, while the uh-oh moment when Kate faced them into the security control room, it is a little bit funny. There was no need for Kate to fight them. All she has to do was to keep phasing and keep running. Yeah, that was a little pointless. And grab my ankle makes me think that Kate was phasing them through the floor, but the orientation of the panel is upright, and it makes it seem like they were phasing through a blank wall, even though there are objects lined up against the wall and not drawn in the phasing through panel. I'm sure they are meant to go through the floor. So the rest of the escape scenes and the interaction within the getaway car is pretty sweet, as was Trista giving Kate a thank you package the next morning, calling Kate her hero and giving Kate the answer to her question she had asked herself before she went to bed. What was it all for? This. This is what it was all for. Agree on all counts. I was surprised Trista did not ask Kate about Krakoa. That would have given Kate more opportunity to wallow. I mean, I love Trista's grandma too. I love their interaction. Anyway, we have a shot of an origami of Lockheed. Where is our favorite purple dragon? It did not even occur to me until I saw that origami that Lockheed was missing. And that brings us to yet another tonal shift with the end and then just joking. So this time it is the writer breaking the fourth wall, sort of. Yeah. The Emma scenes did not quite work for me. She would not have called her Kitty. In Marauders issue 1, Emma specifically asks Kate why she did not ask the rest of the gang to call her Kate. Also, this thing on Sean and Aurora seems out of character for her. It is still a little too early to know what Emma is up to. I do not quite mind her scene on the reread, though I agree she would not have called her Kitty when speaking to herself. She might have done that on purpose if speaking to Kate in person, just to get on her nerves. So Carnero's art ranges from above average to really good. So it averages out to be good. Really good stuff. The characters' expressions of Trista when she got angry, closed up shot of Kate, the very last two panels of Emma. In general, the mid to closed up shot are all very, very good. The distant shots of characters are slightly less successful for me. It is still above average, but something feels just a touch off. Um, on the uh part, I also like all the crowded scenes. Yeah, talking about those scenes, the very first one at Lulu's, I noticed one thing, a nitpick. The champagne is overflowing into the ice container, so that is not saving Lulu any money or getting Lizzie any extra tips. But I digress. I like the range of different background characters in all the crowded scenes. Different hair, different attire, and all permutations of the rainbow. I know it is common to just fade out the background characters color-wise in a crowded scene so as to draw the reader's eye towards the main character, but I wish it wasn't the case here, especially with the crowd outside the concert hall. To clarify, I'm not criticizing the choice. I just think I would enjoy seeing everything in full color since Carnero's clearly spent a lot of time filling in the small details. And I appreciate all the small details like Kitty's Star of David and all the hair that a corgi leaves behind when you hug one. Well as all the background details in the apartment at Lulu's in Trista's house. These are things that sometimes we do not appreciate enough because we are concentrating on the word bubbles and looking at the main characters. There seems to be a lack of promotion for this book, and the conspiracy theorist in me can't help but think that perhaps Ewing and the editorial team did not quite get along. The several odd tonal shifts in this issue and some of the bits and pieces of dialogue in this issue, could that be editorial interference like what was alleged in X Factor issue 9? And also what drove Claremont and Weezy away from the X titles from way back when? I mean, I certainly hope that is not the case. Based just on the first issue, if anything should be interfered with, it should have been X Factor and not this one. Um, Only time will tell. So, in conclusion, I like this issue mainly because of the character voice and the good art, but discounted slightly because of some plot contrivances and the weird tonal shifts. This is, I would say, a 3.5 out of 5. I agree. So if you're a fan of Kate, pick this up. And even if you're not, I think it is still worth checking out. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, share, and comment.
Tyler
out.